It is new GarageBand iOS version time. That's right, version 2.3.6 of GarageBand on the iPad and the iPhone is available right now. We've got MIDI importing, we've got some updates to some instruments, and we've got those all-important bug fixes and stability improvements. So in this video, we're going to jump in and take our first look at the new features here in GarageBand iOS. Let's go. Hi, my name is Pete. This is Studio Live today, where I help you create, record and release your best music. And one of my favorite platforms for creating music is GarageBand, right here on the iPad and the iPhone. So whenever we have a new version, I need to dive in and take a look at what is new in the new version of GarageBand. Now, quick word of warning before we jump in and take a look, you do need to be running iOS 12. So if you haven't updated from iOS 11.4 up to iOS 12, you'll need to do that first. Just go into your settings and update. In fact, I'm going to show you how to do that in this video as well. So let's now jump in and start taking a look at the new version of GarageBand iOS. So to update to iOS 12, we're going to have to tap on settings here, and then under the general option here, we're going to go software update. It will check for that update, and hopefully it will find that there's an update to iOS 12.0. Now, before you do this, here it is. Before you do this, make sure you back up your phone or your iPad because, yeah, updating to a whole version of a new iOS is always a little bit of a risky endeavor. It usually works. It works probably 95% of the time for me. So now that I've said that, I'm going to totally jinx it. But sync up your phone, sync it to iCloud, sync it to your PC or your Mac, whatever you do, but back up and then come in here, tap download and install, and then it will go away and start updating. So the update's requested, it will then download and install, and then once I am running iOS 12, I will return and we will check out the new GarageBand. Okay, here we are in our nice, shiny new iOS 12. So we're going to now update our GarageBand. Let's tap on the App Store. We're going to hit search, and then let's type in, if we can spell, GarageBand. There it is. And we should have, yes, the ability to update. Now this time, when we tap on update, it should actually help us by updating eventually. Clearly a lot of people are downloading this at the moment because everything's being a little slower than usual with all of the new iOS 12 and all the new app updates. So we will leave this. I won't make you watch the little thing spin around. We'll come back once this is downloaded and we'll take a look at the cool new features here in GarageBand. Okay, so all of the admin, all of the updating has been done, and here we are in our shiny new GarageBand version 2.3.6 for the very first time. Now, the user interface has apparently been updated. It looks similar, maybe it's a little bit crisper and sharper. Some of these images, it's hard to remember, to be honest. One thing I have heard is that the drums look quite different. Let's have a look at those. Oh yes, look at that shininess you can see there around the rims, and especially those cymbals. They look awesome, those rings around the cymbals. Anyway, we're not here to look at what it looks like, we're here to look at what it sounds like. So let's dive in and create a new track, and I'll start showing some of these new cool loop and MIDI features that we have here in the new GarageBand. Okay, now here we are in a new track. Now this is going to be a first look because Apple aren't great in terms of documenting all of the new features that are available, but some of the things that I've discovered so far and that have been in the documentation are around our MIDI loops and our ability to import these new types of loops into our project, which is a very cool feature. So I've got a blank project here. I'm going to tap on the loops icon up in the top right corner, and now we can come in here, and now here are our old style loops. So these blue ones are our old Apple loops, which are just a WAV file basically. We'll just scroll through here because what I want to show you is that we've got these new types of loops. Look at these green ones that we have here. These are our new MIDI loops that we can put in here. So if we scroll down here, where's the one that I wanted to use? There's the piano. Here we go, these dark moving piano chords. So just to give you an idea, if we put the old style loop in here, we paste that one into a new track, you can see here that it's just a WAV file. So if we play it back, so we can't do a whole lot in the way of editing and manipulating. We can do a bit, we can sort of change some of the elements, we can reverse it, we can do some things like that, but we don't get a lot of control. Whereas what Apple have added in here to the latest GarageBand is these new green MIDI tracks. So if we tap on this MIDI loop and drag that to a new spot, there you go, we've got this new MIDI loop piano chord. So if we play that now, very cool. So very powerful here because we can now actually manipulate and edit these MIDI tracks. So unlike the tracks we have here, we can edit these. So if we tap and we go to edit, we can edit the MIDI notes. Now I've got other videos all about editing MIDI, which you can check out in the description below if you're new to this. But what we can quickly do here is if we wanted to say change this last chord here, we can now do that. And now if we play back, and you would probably make a note that's actually somewhere in tune, like something like this. That's a little bit better. Anyway, you can see here quickly how powerful this is going to be in what we do with our projects and all the editing that you can do. The other cool thing that we can do with this now, of course, is we can come up to the top right here and we can go to our key signature. And if we've got follow song key on, we can actually change the key of this song. So let's put this from C over into F and take a listen. So we can quickly edit, and there's a whole bunch of other MIDI functions we can do in here where we can transpose, we can edit, we can change these sounds around. So unlike our old WAV files, we can actually do a whole lot more with these MIDI files. And the other thing you can do is you can actually import your own MIDI files in here. So I'm not going to do that in this video, but I'll do that in a video coming up soon. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll be advised when that is available. But you can actually bring in your own MIDI track. So from another application, from another digital audio workstation, you're creating MIDI, or you've just got a MIDI file, a .mid file, you can actually bring that in to your project here and then send that over to an instrument. And when we talk about instruments, the other thing that you've probably already ahead of me on here is that we can change this instrument. So if we come in here and we go to our piano, I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. If we come into the piano, we can then go to this piano and go and change this to any other that we like. So let's change it to the smooth clav and take a listen. Probably not the most appropriate instrument for that sound, but you get the point here. You can take any of these MIDI loops and add any instrument, transpose them, put them in a different key, do all sorts of cool things here, and you've got that complete control over all of the editing of the loop. But we're not done there. The other new thing that has been added in here, which you may have seen, are these yellow loops. So these are our drummers, and we now have the ability to throw drummer loops directly into our track like so. So I'm sort of not completely sold on exactly how useful this will be because we can still use drummer, but I tend to use drummer for my metronome or my backing track, so this actually might be cool to have available so that I can just quickly create my own backing track here without having to go in and program the drummer. I can just bring in the drummer into here, and if we go here and we tap and we go to edit, then we actually get the ability to change the drummer sounds over here, just like we would in the drummer app. So we can actually manipulate that right out of here. So again, yeah, you might say that's not super useful, but it's in there now, it's ready to go, and maybe over the next couple of days and weeks, I'll find even more uses for that. So those are our two new types of loops that we have here in the Loop browser that we can actually use here. As I mentioned, you can also import your own MIDI tracks, which we'll be exploring in a future video. Now, before we finish up here, let's jump back to here because I did see, yes, we have more sounds available. So I don't know what these are. Here we go. We can go into something like the flex and flow. No, there's nothing actually in there. It just said it was new. I've downloaded all of these. That's why I actually did come in here. So there were some new sounds in here and I must have already hit the update button because a lot of these had new sounds. Now I haven't actually found the sounds in anything here, but whether they're actually new sounds or whether they are updated versions of the original sounds. I have heard that there are some sounds that have just been improved and enhanced, which is going to be tricky to actually find what are new, and there's nothing really that stands out that tells us which sounds are actually new. So we'll continue to explore that, and of course, if you are finding out cool new things, I would love to hear them. I'd love you to drop those down in the comments and let me know what you are finding and how you are finding the new version of GarageBand here, GarageBand version 2.3.6. It's a small update, but there's some cool stuff in here, and I think it's going to be a bit of a game changer in the way that we edit and manipulate our audio with these new loops that we have in here that we can actually use. So there you go, some pretty cool features for such a small update. I'm loving the MIDI importing, and it's going to be even better when we start taking a look at our own MIDI files and bringing those in. The ability to edit those loops is going to be really, really cool and make GarageBand even more flexible. So stay tuned here on the channel, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll have a heap more videos about those new functions coming up in the coming days and weeks. But for now, if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can leave those down in the comments. Check the description as well for a heap more videos all about creating in GarageBand. And I'll see you on the next video. Hey, thanks for sticking around. We've got 2 more videos linked right down below, all about creating here in GarageBand. You can also subscribe to the channel by clicking on the Studio Live Today icon up in the top right corner, or head on over to studiolivetoday.com for more audio goodness.